Sahih al-Bukhari 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus. Sahih al-Bukhari 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus. Narrated Ali. I got a she-camel in my share of the war booty on the day of the battle of Badr, and the Prophet had given me a she-camel from the Khumus. When I intended to marry Fatima, the daughter of Allah's apostle, I had an appointment with a goldsmith from the tribe of Bani Kainuka to go with me to bring idkir, that is grass of pleasant smell, and sell it to the goldsmiths and spend its price on my wedding party. I was collecting for my she-camels equipment of saddles, sacks and ropes while my 2 she-camels were kneeling down beside the room of an Ansari man. I returned after collecting whatever I collected, to see the humps of my 2 she-camels cut off and their flanks cut open and some portion of their livers was taken out. When I saw that state of my 2 she-camels, I could not help weeping. I asked, "Who has done this?" The people replied, "Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib, who is staying with some Ansari drunks in this house." I went away till I reached the Prophet and Zayd bin Haritha. Sahih al-Bukhari 3091 Reference 57 Hadith 1. Sahih al-Bukhari 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus, was with him. The Prophet noticed on my face the effect of what I had suffered, so the Prophet asked, "What is wrong with you?" I replied, "O Allah's Messenger, I have never seen such a day as today. Hamza attacked my 2 she-camels, cut off their humps, and ripped open their flanks, and he is sitting there in a house in the company of some drunks." The Prophet then asked for his covering sheet, put it on, and set out walking followed by me and Zayd bin Haritha till he came to the house where Hamza was. He asked permission to enter, and they allowed him, and they were drunk. Allah's Messenger started rebuking Hamza for what he had done, but Hamza was drunk and his eyes were red. Hamza looked at Allah's Messenger and then he raised his eyes, looking at his knees, then he raised up his eyes looking at his umbilicus, and again he raised up his eyes looking at his face. Hamza then said, "Aren't you but the slaves of my father?" Allah's Messenger realized that he was drunk, so Allah's Messenger. Sahih al-Bukhari 3091 Reference 57 Hadith 1. Sahih al-Bukhari 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus retreated, and we went out with him. Sahih al-Bukhari 3091 Reference 57 Hadith 1. Sahih al-Bukhari 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus. Narrated Aisha, sad face, mother of the believers. After the death of Allah's apostle Fatima, the daughter of Allah's Messenger, asked Abu Bakr as Siddiq to give her share of inheritance from what Allah's Messenger had left of the fai, that is booty gained without fighting, which Allah had given him. Abu Bakr said to her, Allah's apostle said, "Our property will not be inherited. Whatever we, that is profits, leave is sadaqah, to be used for charity." Fatima, the daughter of Allah's Messenger, got angry and stopped speaking to Abu Bakr, and continued assuming that attitude till she died. Fatima remained alive for 6 months after the death of Allah's Messenger. She used to ask Abu Bakr for her share from the property of Allah's Messenger which he left at Khaybar and Fadak, and his property at Medina, devoted for charity. Abu Bakr refused to give her that property and said, "I will not leave anything Allah's Messenger used to do, because I am afraid that if I left something from the Prophet's tradition." Sahih al-Bukhari 3092, 3093 Reference 57 Hadith 2. Sahih al-Bukhari 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus. Then I would go astray. Later on, Umar gave the Prophet's property of Sadaqah at Medina to Ali and Abbas, but he withheld the properties of Khaybar and Fadak in his custody and said, "These 2 properties are the Sadaqah which Allah's apostle used to use for his expenditures and urgent needs. Now their management is to be entrusted to the ruler." As Zuhri said, "They have been managed in this way till today." Sahih al-Bukhari 3092, 3093 Reference 57 Hadith 2. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Malik bin Aus. While I was at home, the sun rose high and it got hot. Suddenly the messenger of Umar bin al-Khattab came to me and said, "The chief of the believers has sent for you." So, I went along with him till I entered the place where Umar was sitting on a bedstead made of date palm leaves and covered with no mattress, and he was leaning over a leather pillow. I greeted him and sat down. He said, "O Mali, some persons of your people who have families came to me and I have ordered that a gift should be given to them, so take it and distribute it among them." I said, "O chief of the believers, I wish that you order someone else to do it." He said, "O man, take it." While I was sitting there with him, his doorman Yarfa came saying, "Uthman, Abdurrahman bin Auf, as Zubair and Sa'di bin Abi Waqqas are asking your permission to see you. May I admit them?" Umar said, "Yes." So they were admitted and they came in, greeted him, and sat down. After a while Yarfa came again and said, Sahih al-Bukhari 3094 Reference 57 Hadith 3. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus. May I admit Ali and Abbas? Umar said, "Yes." So, they were admitted and they came in and greeted him, and sat down. Then Abbas said, "O chief of the believers, judge between me and this, that is Ali." They had a dispute regarding the property of Bani and Nadir which Allah had given to his apostle as fi. The group, that is Uthman and his companions, said, "O chief of the believers, judge between them and relieve both of them front each other." Umar said, "Be patient. I beseech you by Allah by whose permission the heaven and the earth exist. Do you know that Allah's messenger said, that is prophets, property will not be inherited, and whatever we leave, is sadaqah, to be used for charity, and Allah's messenger meant himself, by saying we." The group said, "He said so." Umar then turned to Ali and Abbas and said, "I beseech you by Allah, do you know that Allah's messenger said so?" They replied, "He said so." Umar then said, "So, I will talk to you about this matter." Allah bestowed on Sahih al-Bukhari 3094 Reference 57 Hadith 3. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus his apostle with a special favor of something of this booty, which he gave to nobody else. Umar then recited the holy verses. What Allah bestowed as booty on his apostle, Muhammad peace be upon him, from them, for this you made no expedition with either cavalry or camelry. But Allah gives power to his apostles over whomever he will and Allah is able to do all things. 9-6. Umar added, so this property was especially given to Allah's messenger, but, by Allah, neither did he take possession of it and leave your, nor did he favor himself with it to your exclusion, but he gave it to all of you and distributed it amongst you till this property remained out of it. Allah's messenger used to spend the yearly expenses of his family out of this property and used to keep the rest of its revenue to be spent on Allah's cause. Allah's apostle kept on doing this during all his lifetime. I ask you by Allah, do you know this? They replies in the affirmative. Umar then said to Ali and Abbas. Sahih al-Bukhari 3094 Reference 57 Hadith 3. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus I ask you by Allah, do you know this? Umar added, when Allah had taken his prophet unto him, Abu Bakr said, I am the successor of Allah's messenger, so Abu Bakr took over that property and managed it in the same way as Allah's messenger used to do, and Allah knows that he was true, pious and rightly guided, and he was a follower of what was right. Then Allah took Abu Bakr unto him and I became Abu Bakr's successor, and I kept that property in my possession for the first 2 years of my caliphate, managing it in the same way as Allah's Messenger used to do and as Abu Bakr used to do. And Allah knows that I have been true, pious, rightly guided, and a follower of what is right. Now you both, that is Allah and Abbas, came to talk to me, bearing the same claim and presenting the same case. You, Abbas, came to me asking for your share from your nephew's property, and this man, that is Ali, came to me asking for his wife's share from her father's property. I told you both that Allah's Messenger Sahih al-Bukhari 3094 reference 57 Hadith 3. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus said, our prophets' properties are not to be inherited, but what we leave is sadaqah, to be used for charity. When I thought it right that I should hand over this property to you, I said to you, I am ready to hand over this property to you if you wish, on the condition that you would take Allah's pledge and convention that you would manage it in the same way as Allah's Messenger used to, and as Abu Bakr used to do, and as I have done since I was in charge of it. So, both of you said, to me, hand it over to us, and on that condition I handed it over to you. So, I ask you by Allah, did I hand it over to them on this condition? The group aid, yes. Then Umar faced Ali and Abbas saying, I ask you by Allah, did I hand it over to you on this condition? They said, yes. He said, do you want now to give a different decision? By Allah, by whose leave both the heaven and the earth exist, I will never give any decision other than that I have already given. And if you are unable to manage it, Sahih al-Bukhari 3094 reference 57 Hadith 3. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus then return it to me, and I will do the job on your behalf. Sahih al-Bukhari 3094 reference 57 Hadith 3. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ibn Abbas. The delegates of the tribe of Abdul Qais came and said, O Allah's Messenger, we are from the tribe of Rabi'a, and there is the infidels of the tribe of Mudar intervening between you and us, so we cannot come to you except in the sacred months. So please order us some instructions that we may apply it to ourselves and also invite our people whom we left behind us to observe as well. The Prophet said, I order you to do 4 things, and forbid you to do 4. I order you to believe in Allah, that is, to testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. The Prophet pointed with his hand, to offer prayers perfectly, to pay zakat, to fast the month of Ramadan, and to pay the Khumus, that is 1/5, of the war booty to Allah, and I forbid you to use ad-duba, and nakir, al-hantam and al-muzafat, that is utensils used for preparing alcoholic drinks. See Hadith number 50, Volume 1. Sahih al-Bukhari 3095 reference 57 Hadith 4. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, my heirs should not take even a single dinar. That is anything from my property, and whatever I leave, excluding the expenditure of my wives and my laborers, will be sadaqah, that is be used for charity. Sahih al-Bukhari 3096 reference 57 Hadith 5. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Aisha. Allah's Messenger died, and there was nothing in my house that a living being could eat, except some barley lying on a shelf. So, I ate of it for a long period and measured it, and, after a short period, it was consumed. Sahih al-Bukhari 3097 reference 57 Hadith 6. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Amr bin al-Harith. The Prophet did not leave anything, after his death, except his arms, a white mule, and a piece of land which he had given as sadaqah. Sahih al-Bukhari 3098 reference 57 Hadith 7. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Aisha sad face, the wife of the Prophet. When the sickness of Allah's Messenger got aggravated, he asked the permission of his wives that he should be treated in my house, and they permitted him. Sahih al-Bukhari 3099 reference 57 Hadith 8. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ibn Abu Malaika. Aisha said, the Prophet died in my house on the day of my turn while he was leaning on my chest closer to my neck, and Allah made my saliva mix with his saliva. Aisha added, Abdurrahman came with a siwak and the Prophet was too weak to use it, so I took it, chewed it and then gave it to him and he cleaned his teeth with it. Sahih al-Bukhari 3100 reference 57 Hadith 9. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Safiya sad face, the wife of the Prophet, that she came to visit Allah's Messenger while he was in itikaf, that is seclusion in the mosque during the last 10 days of Ramadan. When she got up to return, Allah's Messenger got up with her and accompanied her, and when he reached near the gate of the mosque close to the door of the house of Salama, the wife of the Prophet, 2 Ansari men passed by them and greeted Allah's apostle and then went away. Allah's Messenger addressed them saying, don't hurry. She is my wife, they said, glorified be Allah. O Allah's Messenger, you are far away from any suspicion, and his saying was hard on them. Allah's Messenger said, Satan circulates in the mind of a person as blood does in his body. I was afraid that Satan might put some evil thoughts in your minds. Sahih al-Bukhari 3101 reference 57 Hadith 10. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abdullah bin Umar. Once I went upstairs in Hafsa's house and saw the Prophet answering the call of nature with his back towards the Qibla and facing Sham. Sahih al-Bukhari 3102 reference 57 Hadith 11. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Aisha, that Allah's Messenger used to offer the Asr prayer while the sun was still shining in her hujra, that is her dwelling place. Sahih al-Bukhari 3103 reference 57 Hadith 12. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abdullah. The Prophet stood up and delivered a sermon, and pointing to Aisha's house, that is eastwards, he said thrice, affliction will appear from here, and from where the side of the Satan's head comes out, that is from the east. Sahih al-Bukhari 3104 reference 57 Hadith 13. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Amra bint Abdurrahman. Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, told her that once Allah's Messenger was with her and she heard somebody asking permission to enter Hafsa's house. She said, O Allah's Messenger, this man is asking permission to enter your house. Allah's Messenger replied, I think he is so and so, meaning the foster uncle of Hafsa. What is rendered illegal because of blood relations, is also rendered illegal because of the corresponding foster relations. Sahih al-Bukhari 3105 reference 57 Hadith 14. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Anas, that when Abu Bakr became the caliph, he sent him to Bahrain and wrote this letter for him, and stamped it with the ring of the Prophet. 3 lines were engraved on the ring. The word, Muhammad peace be upon him, was in a line, Apostle was in another line, and Allah in a third. Sahih al-Bukhari 3106 reference 57 Hadith 15. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Isa bin Taman. Anas brought out to us 2 worn-out leather shoes without hair and with pieces of leather straps. Later on Thabit al-Banani told me that Anas said that they were the shoes of the Prophet. Sahih al-Bukhari 3107 reference 57 Hadith 16. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abu Burda. Aisha brought out to us a patched wool len garment, and she said, "It chanced that the soul of Allah's messenger was taken away while he was wearing this." Abu Burda added, "Aisha brought out to us a thick waist sheet like the ones made by the Yemenites, and also a garment of the type called al-Mulabada." Sahih al-Bukhari 3108 reference 57 Hadith 17. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Anas bin Malik. When the cup of Allah's messenger got broken, he fixed it with a silver wire at the crack. The sub-narrator, Asim, said, "I saw the cup and drank water in it." Sahih al-Bukhari 3109 reference 57 Hadith 18. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ali bin al-Husayn. That when they reached Medina after returning from Yazid bin Muawiyah after the martyrdom of Husayn bin Ali, may Allah bestow His mercy upon him, Al-Miswar bin Makramah met him and said to him, "Do you have any need you may order me to satisfy?" Ali said, "Number." Al-Miswar said, "Will you give me the sword of Allah's messenger, for I am afraid that people may take it from you by force? By Allah, if you give it to me, they will never be able to take it till I die." When Ali bin Abu Talib demanded the hand of the daughter of Abi Jahal to be his wife besides Fatima, I heard Allah's messenger on his pulpit delivering a sermon in this connection before the people, and I had then attained my age of puberty. Allah's messenger said, "Fatima is from me, and I am afraid she will be subjected to trials in her religion, because of jealousy." The Prophet then mentioned one of his son-in-law who was from the tribe of Abu Shams, and he praised him as a good son-in-law, saying, Sahih al-Bukhari 3110 reference 57 Hadith 19. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, whatever he said was the truth, and he promised me and fulfilled his promise. I do not make a legal thing illegal, nor do I make an illegal thing legal, but by Allah, the daughter of Allah's messenger and the daughter of the enemy of Allah, that is Abu Jahl, can never get together, as the wives of one man. See Hadith number 76, Vo. 5. Sahih al-Bukhari 3110 reference 57 Hadith 19. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ibn al-Hanafiya. If Ali had spoken anything bad about Uthman, then he would have mentioned the day when some persons came to him and complained about the zakat officials of Uthman. Ali then said to me, "Go to Uthman and say to him, this document contains the regulations of spending the sadaqah of Allah's apostles, so order your zakat officials to act accordingly." I took the document to Uthman. Uthman said, "Take it away, for we are not in need of it." I returned to Ali with it and informed him of that. He said, "Put it whence you took it." Sahih al-Bukhari 3111 reference 57 Hadith 20. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus Muhammad peace be upon him bin Sukkah. I heard Mundir at Tuzi reporting Ibn Hanafiya, who said, "My father sent me saying, take this letter to Uthman, for it contains the orders of the Prophet concerning the sadaqah." Sahih al-Bukhari 3112 reference 57 Hadith 21. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ali. Fatima complained of what she suffered from the handmill and from grinding, when she got the news that some slave girls of the booty had been brought to Allah's messenger. She went to him to ask for a maid-servant, but she could not find him, and told Aisha of her need. When the Prophet came, Aisha informed him of that. The Prophet came to our house when we had gone to our beds. On seeing the Prophet, we were going to get up, but he said, "Keep at your places." I felt the coolness of the Prophet's feet on my chest. Then he said, "Shall I tell you a thing which is better than what you asked me for? When you go to your beds, say, Allahu Akbar. That is Allah is greater, for 34 times, and Alhamdulillah. That is all the praises are for Allah, for 33 times, and Subhanallah. That is glorified be Allah, for 33 times. This is better for you than what you have requested." Sahih al-Bukhari 3113 reference 57 Hadith 22. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Habir bin Abdullah. A boy was born to one of our men, the Ansar, and he wanted to name him Muhammad, peace be upon him. Then Ansari man said, "I took the boy to the Prophet." The Prophet said, "Name your child by my name, but do not name them by my kunya, for I have been made Qasim, that is, a distributor, to distribute the booty etc., amongst you." The narrator, Husayn, said that the Prophet said, "I have been sent as a Qasim, that is, distributor, to distribute things amongst you." The sub-narrator Salim said that he heard Habir saying that the man wanted to name the boy Al-Qasim, but the Prophet said, "Call your sons by my name, but do not name them by my kunya." Sahih al-Bukhari 3114 reference 57 Hadith 23. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Habir bin Abdullah al-Ansari. A man amongst us begot a boy whom he named Al-Qasim. On that the Ansar said to the man, "We will never call you Abu al-Qasim and will never please you with this blessed title." So, he went to the Prophet and said, "O Allah's Messenger, I have begotten a boy whom I named Al-Qasim," and the Ansar said, "We will never call you Abu al-Qasim, nor will we please you with this title." The Prophet said, "The Ansar have done well. Name by my name, but do not name by my kunya, for I am Qasim." Sahih al-Bukhari 3115 reference 57 Hadith 24. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Muawiyah. Allah's Messenger said, "If Allah wants to do good for somebody, He makes him comprehend the religion, that is Islam. And Allah is the giver and I am Al-Qasim, that is the distributor. And this Muslim nation will remain victorious over their opponents, till Allah's order comes and they will still be victorious." Sahih al-Bukhari 3116 reference 57 Hadith 25. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger said, "Neither do I give you anything, nor withhold anything from you, but I am just a distributor, that is Qasim, and I give as I am ordered." Sahih al-Bukhari 3117 reference 57 Hadith 26. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Khawla al-Ansariya. I heard Allah's Messenger saying, "Some people spend Allah's wealth, that is Muslims' wealth, in an unjust manner. Such people will be put in the hell fire on the day of resurrection." Sahih al-Bukhari 3118 reference 57 Hadith 27. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Urwa al-Bariki. The Prophet said, "Horses are always the source of good, namely, rewards, in the hereafter, and booty, till the day of resurrection." Sahih al-Bukhari 3119 reference 57 Hadith 28. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, when Khosrau is ruined, there will be no Khosrau after him. And when Caesar is ruined, there will be no Caesar after him. By him in whose hands my life is, you will spend their treasures in Allah's cause. Sahih al-Bukhari 3120 reference 57 Hadith 29. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Habir bin Samura. Allah's Messenger said, when Khosrau is ruined, there will be no Khosrau after him. And when Caesar is ruined, there will be no Caesar after him. By him in whose hands my life is, you will spend their treasures in Allah's cause. Sahih al-Bukhari 3121 reference 57 Hadith 30. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Habir bin Abdullah. Allah's Messenger said, booty has been made legal for me. Sahih al-Bukhari 3122 reference 57 Hadith 31. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, Allah guarantees him who strives in his cause and whose motivation for going out is nothing but jihad in his cause and belief in his word, that he will admit him into paradise, if martyred, or bring him back to his dwelling place, whence he has come out, with what he gains of reward and booty. Sahih al-Bukhari 3123 reference 57 Hadith 32. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, a prophet amongst the prophets carried out a holy military expedition. So he said to his followers, anyone who has married a woman and wants to consummate the marriage, and has not done so yet, should not accompany me. Nor should a man who has built a house but has not completed its roof. Nor a man who has sheep or she-camels and is waiting for the birth of their young ones. So, the Prophet carried out the expedition, and when he reached that town at the time or nearly at the time of the Asr prayer, he said to the son, O son, you are under Allah's order and I am under Allah's order, O Allah. Stop it. That is the sun, from setting. It was stopped till Allah made him victorious. Then he collected the booty and the fire came to burn it, but it did not burn it. He said to his men, some of you have stolen something from the booty. So one man from every tribe should give me a pledge of allegiance by shaking hands with me. They did so, and the hand of a Sahih al-Bukhari 3124 reference 57 Hadith 33. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus man got stuck over the hand of their prophet. Then that prophet said to the man, the theft has been committed by your people. So all the persons of your tribe should give me the pledge of allegiance by shaking hands with me. The hands of 2 or 3 men got stuck over the hand of their prophet, and he said, you have committed the theft. Then they brought a head of gold like the head of a cow and put it there, and the fire came and consumed the booty. The prophet added, then Allah saw our weakness and disability, so he made booty legal for us. Sahih al-Bukhari 3124 reference 57 Hadith 33. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Aslam. Umar said, were it not for those Muslims who have not come to existence yet, I would have distributed the land of every town I conquer among the fighters as the Prophet distributed the land of Khaybar. Sahih al-Bukhari 3125 reference 57 Hadith 34. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. A Bedouin asked the Prophet, a man may fight for the sake of booty, and another may fight so that he may be mentioned by the people, and a third may fight to show his position. That is bravery. Which of these regarded as fighting in Allah's cause? The Prophet said, he who fights so that Allah's word, that is Islam, should be superior, fights for Allah's cause. Sahih al-Bukhari 3126 reference 57 Hadith 35. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abdullah bin Abu Malaika. Some silken cloaks with golden buttons were presented to the Prophet. He distributed them amongst his companions and kept one for Makramah bin Nawfal. Later on Makramah came along with his son al-Miswar bin Makramah, and stood up at the gate and said, to his son, "Call him, that is the Prophet, to me." The Prophet heard his voice, took a silken cloak and brought it to him, placing those golden buttons in front of him, saying, "O Abu al-Miswar, I have kept this aside for you. O Abu al-Miswar, I have kept this aside for you." Makramah was a bad-tempered man. Sahih al-Bukhari 3127 reference 57 Hadith 36. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Anas bin Malik. People used to give some of their date palms to the Prophet as a gift, till he conquered Bani Qurayza and Bani Nadir, whereupon he started returning their favors. Sahih al-Bukhari 3128 reference 57 Hadith 37. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abdullah bin Az-Zubair. When Az-Zubair got up during the battle of Al-Jamal, he called me and I stood up beside him, and he said to me, "O my son, today one will be killed either as an oppressor or as an oppressed one. I see that I will be killed as an oppressed one. My biggest worry is my debts. Do you think, if we pay the debts, there will be something left for us from our money?" Az-Zubair added, "O my son, sell our property and pay my debts." Az-Zubair then willed 1/3 of his property and willed 1/3 of that portion to his sons, namely, Abdullah's sons. He said, 1/3 of the 1/3. If any property is left after the payment of the debts, 1/3 of the 1/3 of what is left is to be given to your sons. Hisham, a sub-narrator, added, some of the sons of Abdullah were equal in age to the sons of Az-Zubair, e.g. Kubayb and Abbas. Abdullah had 9 sons and 9 daughters at that time. The narrator Abdullah added smiley face. My father, Az-Zubair, went on drawing. Sahih al-Bukhari 3129 reference 57 Hadith 38. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus my attention to his debts, saying, if you should fail to pay part of the debts, appeal to my master to help you. By Allah, I could not understand what he meant till I asked, O father, who is your master? He replied, Allah is my master. By Allah, whenever I had any difficulty regarding his debts, I would say, Master of Az-Zubair, pay his debts on his behalf. And Allah would help me to pay it. Az-Zubair was martyred, leaving no dinar or dirham but 2 pieces of land, one of which was called Al-Ghaba, and 11 houses in Medina, 2 in Basra, 1 in Kufa and 1 in Egypt. In fact, the source of the debt which he owed was that if somebody brought some money to deposit with him, Az-Zubair would say, no, I won't keep it as a trust, but I take it as a debt, for I am afraid it might be lost. Az-Zubair was never appointed governor or collector of the tax of Kharaj or any other similar thing, but he collected his wealth from the war booty he gained. During the holy battles he took part. Sahih al-Bukhari 3129 reference 57 Hadith 38. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus in the company of the Prophet, Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman. Abdullah bin Az-Zubair added smiley face. When I counted his debt, it turned to be 2,200,000. The sub-narrator added smiley face. Hakim bin Hizam met Abdullah bin Zubair and asked, "O my nephew, how much is the debt of my brother?" Abdullah kept it as a secret and said, 100,000. Hakim said, "By Allah, I don't think your property will cover it." On that Abdullah said to him, "What if it is 2,200,000? Hakim said, "I don't think you can pay it, so if you are unable to pay all of it, I will help you." Az-Zubair had already bought Al-Ghaba for 170,000. Abdullah sold it for 1,600,000. Then he called the people saying, "Any person who has any money claim on Az-Zubair should come to us in Al-Ghaba." There came to him Abdullah bin Ja'far whom Az-Zubair owed 400,000. He said to Abdullah bin Az-Zubair, "If you wish I will forgive." Sahih al-Bukhari 3129 reference 57 Hadith 38. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus you the debt. Abdullah bin Az-Zubair said, Number. Then Ibn Ja'far said, "If you wish you can defer the payment if you should defer the payment of any debt." Ibn Az-Zubair said, Number. Abdullah bin Ja'far said, "Give me a piece of the land." Abdullah bin Az-Zubair said, to him, "Yours is the land extending from this place to this place." So, Abdullah bin Az-Zubair sold some of the property, including the houses, and paid his debt perfectly, retaining 4.5 shares from the land, that is Al-Ghaba. He then went to Muawiyah while Amr bin Uthman, Al-Mundir bin Az-Zubair and Ibn Zama were sitting with him. Muawiyah asked, "At what price have you appraised Al-Ghaba?" He said, 100,000 for each share. Muawiyah asked, "How many shares have been left?" Abdullah replied, 4.5 shares. Al-Mundir bin Az-Zubair said, "I would like to buy 1 share for 100,000. Amr bin Uthman said, "I would like to buy 1 share for 100,000. Ibn Zama said, "I would." Sahih al-Bukhari 3129 reference 57 Hadith 38. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus like to buy 1 share for 100,000. Muawiyah said, "How much is left now?" Abdullah replied, 1 share and a half. Muawiyah said, "I would like to buy it for 150,000. Abdullah also sold his part to Muawiyah 600,000. When Ibn Az-Zubair had paid all the debts, Az-Zubair's sons said to him, "Distribute our inheritance among us." He said, "No, by Allah, I will not distribute it among you till I announce in 4 successive Hajj seasons, would those who have money claims on Az-Zubair come so that we may pay them their debt." So, he started to announce that in public in every Hajj season, and when 4 years had elapsed, he distributed the inheritance among the inheritors. Az-Zubair had 4 wives, and after the 1/3 of his property was excluded, according to the will, each of his wives received 1,200,000. So the total amount of his property was 50,200,000. Sahih al-Bukhari 3129 reference 57 Hadith 38. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus narrated Ibn Umar. Uthman did not join the Badr battle because he was married to one of the daughters of Allah's apostle and she was ill. So, the Prophet said to him, "You will get a reward and a share from the war booty, similar to the reward and the share of one who has taken part in the Badr battle." Sahih al-Bukhari 3130 reference 57 Hadith 39. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus narrated Marwan bin al-Hakim and Miswar bin Makramah. When the Hawazin delegation came to Allah's messenger after they had embraced Islam and requested him to return their properties and war prisoners to them, Allah's messenger said, "To me the best talk is the truest, so you may choose either of two things: the war prisoners or the wealth, for I have delayed their distribution." Allah's messenger had waited for them for over 10 days when he returned from Taif. So, when those people came to know that Allah's messenger was not going to return to them except one of the two things, they said, "We choose our war prisoners." Allah's messenger stood up amongst the Muslims, and after glorifying Allah as he deserved, he said, "Now then, these brothers of yours have come to us with repentance, and I see it logical that I should return their captives to them. So whoever of you likes to do that as a favor, then he can do it, and whoever amongst you likes to stick to his share, let him give up his prisoners." Sahih al-Bukhari 3131. 3132 Reference 57 Hadith 40. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus, and we will compensate him from the very first fi, that is war booty received without fight, which Allah will give us. On that, all the people said, "O Allah's Messenger, we have agreed willingly to do so, return the captives." Then Allah's Messenger said to them, "I do not know who amongst you has agreed to this and who has not. You should return and let your leaders inform me of your agreement." The people returned and their leaders spoke to them, and then came to Allah's apostle and said, "All the people have agreed willingly to do so and have given the permission to return the war prisoners, without compensation." As Zuhri, the sub-narrator, states, "This is what has been related to us about the captives of Hawazin." Sahih al-Bukhari 3131, 3132 Reference 57 Hadith 40. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus. Narrated Zadam. Once we were in the house of Abu Musa, who presented a meal containing cooked chicken. A man from the tribe of Bani Taym, Allah, with red complexion as if he were from the Byzantine war prisoners, was present. Abu Musa invited him to share the meal, but he apologized, saying, "I saw chickens eating dirty things, and so I have had a strong aversion to eating them, and have taken an oath that I will not eat chickens." Abu Musa said, "Come along. I will tell you about this matter. That is how to cancel one's oath." I went to the Prophet in the company of a group of Al-Ashari and asked him to provide us with means of conveyance. He said, "By Allah, I will not provide you with any means of conveyance, and I have nothing to make you ride on." Then some camels as booty were brought to Allah's messenger, and he asked for us, saying, "Where are the group of Al-Ash'ariyan?" Then he ordered that we should be given 5 camels with white humps. When we set out, we said, "What have we done?" We will. Sahih al-Bukhari 3133 Reference 57 Hadith 41. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus. Never be blessed with what we have been given. So, we returned to the Prophet and said, "We asked you to provide us with means of conveyance, but you took an oath that you would not provide us with any means of conveyance. Did you forget your oath when you gave us the camels?" He replied, "I have not provided you with means of conveyance, but Allah has provided you with it, and by Allah, Allah willing, if ever I take an oath to do something, and later on I find that it is more beneficial to do something different, I will do the thing which is better, and give expiation for my oath." Sahih al-Bukhari 3133 Reference 57 Hadith 41. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah, Khumus. Narrated Nafi from Ibn Umar. Allah's messenger sent a Sariya towards Najd, and Abdullah bin Umar was in the Sariya. They gained a great number of camels as war booty. The share of each one of them was 12 or 11 camels, and they were given an extra camel each. Sahih al-Bukhari 3134 Reference 57 Hadith 42. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, narrated Ibn Umar. Allah's Messenger used to give extra share to some of the members of the Sariyah he used to send, in addition to the shares they shared with the army in general. Sahih al-Bukhari 3135 reference 57 Hadith 43. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, narrated Abu Musa. We got the news of the migration of the Prophet while we were in Yemen, so we set out migrating to him. We were, I and my 2 brothers, I being the youngest, and one of my brothers was Abu Burda and the other was Abu Rum. We were over 50, or 53 or 52, men from our people. We got on board a ship which took us to a Najashi in Ethiopia, and there we found Ja'far bin Abu Talib and his companions with a Najashi. Ja'far said to us, Allah's Messenger has sent us here and ordered us to stay here, so you too, stay with us. We stayed with him till we all left Ethiopia, and met the Prophet at the time when he had conquered Khaybar. He gave us a share from its booty, or gave us from its booty. He gave only to those who had taken part in the Ghazwa with him. But he did not give any share to any person who had not participated in Khaybar's conquest except the people of our ship, besides Ja'far and his companions, whom he gave a share as he did them. That's Sahih al-Bukhari 3136 reference 57 Hadith 44. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus is the people of the ship. Sahih al-Bukhari 3136 reference 57 Hadith 44. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, narrated Habir. Allah's Messenger said to me, if the property of Bahrain had come to us, I would have given you so much and so much. But the Bahrain property did not come till the Prophet had died. When the Bahrain property came, Abu Bakr ordered somebody to announce, any person who has money claim on Allah's Messenger or whom Allah's Messenger had promised something, should come to us. So, I went to him and said, Allah's Messenger had promised to give me so much and so much. Abu Bakr scooped up money with both hands thrice for me. The sub-narrator Sufyan illustrated this action by scooping up with both hands and said, Ibn Munkadir, another sub-narrator, used to illustrate it in this way. Narrated Habir. Once I went to Abu Bakr and asked for the money but he did not give me, and I went to him again, but he did not give me, so I went to him for the 3rd time and said, I asked you, but you did not give me. Then I asked you, for the 2nd time, and you did not give me. Then I asked. Sahih al-Bukhari 3137 reference 57 Hadith 45. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, you. For the 3rd time, but you did not give me. You should either give me or allow yourself to be considered a miser regarding my case. Abu Bakr said, you tell me that I am a miser with regard to you. But really, whenever I rejected your request, I had the inclination to give you. In another narration Habir added smiley face. So, Abu Bakr scooped up money with both hands for me and asked me to count it. I found out that it was 500. Abu Bakr told me to take twice that amount. Sahih al-Bukhari 3137 reference 57 Hadith 45. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, narrated Habir bin Abdullah. While Allah's Messenger was distributing the booty at Al-Jirana, somebody said to him, be just in your distribution. The Prophet replied, verily I would be miserable if I did not act justly. Sahih al-Bukhari 3138 reference 57 Hadith 46. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, narrated Jubair bin Mut'im. The Prophet talked about war prisoners of Badr saying, Had al-Mut'im bin Adi been alive and interceded with me for these mean people, I would have freed them for his sake. Sahih al-Bukhari 3139 reference 57 Hadith 47. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Jubair bin Mut'im. I and Uthman bin Affan went to Allah's Messenger and said, O Allah's Messenger, you have given to Bani al-Muttalib and left us, although they and we are of the same kinship to you. Allah's Messenger said, Bani Muttalib and Bani Hashim are one and the same. The Prophet did not give a share to Bani Abd Shams and Bani Nawfal. Ibn Ishaq said, Abd Shams and Hashim and al-Muttalib were maternal brothers, and their mother was Atika bint Murrah, and Nawfal was their paternal brother. Sahih al-Bukhari 3140 reference 57 Hadith 48. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abdur Rahman bin Auf. While I was standing in the row on the day of the battle of Badr, I looked to my right and my left and saw 2 young Ansari boys, and I wished I had been stronger than they. One of them called my attention, saying, O uncle, do you know Abu Jahl? I said, Yes. What do you want from him, O my nephew? He said, I have been informed that he abuses Allah's Messenger. By him in whose hands my life is, if I should see him, then my body will not leave his body till either of us meet his fate. I was astonished at that talk. Then the other boy called my attention, saying the same as the other had said. After a while I saw Abu Jahl walking amongst the people. I said to the boys, Look, this is the man you asked me about. So, both of them attacked him with their swords and struck him to death, and returned to Allah's apostle to inform him of that. Allah's Messenger asked, Which of you has killed him? Each of them said, I have killed him. Allah's Messenger asked, Have Sahih al-Bukhari 3141 reference 57 Hadith 49. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus, you cleaned your swords? They said, Number. He then looked at their swords and said, No doubt, you both have killed him, and the spoils of the deceased will be given to Mu'ad bin Amr bin al-Jama. The 2 boys were Mu'ad bin Afra and Mu'ad bin Amr bin al-Jama. Sahih al-Bukhari 3141 reference 57 Hadith 49. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abu Qatada. We set out in the company of Allah's Messenger on the day of the battle of Hunain. When we faced the enemy, the Muslims retreated, and I saw a pagan throwing himself over a Muslim. I turned around and came upon him from behind and hit him on the shoulder with the sword. He, that is the pagan, came towards me and seized me so violently that I felt as if it were death itself, but death overtook him and he released me. I followed Umar bin al-Khattab and asked him, What is wrong with the people fleeing? He replied, This is the will of Allah. After the people returned, the Prophet sat and said, Anyone who has killed an enemy and has a proof of that, will possess his spoils. I got up and said, Who will be a witness for me? And then sat down. The Prophet again said, Anyone who has killed an enemy and has proof of that, will possess his spoils. I, again, got up and said, Who will be a witness for me? And sat down. Then the Prophet said the same for the 3rd time. Sahih al-Bukhari 3142 reference 57 Hadith 50. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus again got up, and Allah's Messenger said, O Abu Qatada, what is your story? Then I narrated the whole story to him. A man got up and said, O Allah's Messenger, he is speaking the truth, and the spoils of the killed man are with me. So please compensate him on my behalf. On that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, No, by Allah, he that is Allah's messenger, will not agree to give you the spoils gained by one of Allah's lions who fights on the behalf of Allah and His apostle. The Prophet said, Abu Bakr has spoken the truth. So, Allah's messenger gave the spoils to me. I sold that armor, that is the spoils, and with its price I bought a garden at Bani Salima, and this was my first property which I gained after my conversion to Islam. Sahih al-Bukhari 3142 reference 57 Hadith 50. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Urwa bin Az-Zubair. Hakim bin Hizam said, I asked Allah's messenger for something, and he gave me. I asked him again, and he gave me, and said to me, O Hakim, this wealth is like green sweet, that is fruit, and if one takes it without greed, then one is blessed in it, and if one takes it with greediness, then one is not blessed in it, and will be like the one who eats without satisfaction. And an upper, that is giving, hand is better than a lower, that is taking, hand. I said, O Allah's messenger, by Him who has sent you with the truth, I will not ask anyone for anything after you till I leave this world. So, when Abu Bakr during his caliphate, called Hakim to give him some money, Hakim refused to accept anything from him. Once Umar called him, during his caliphate, in order to give him something, but Hakim refused to accept it, whereupon Umar said, O Muslims, I give him, that is Hakim, his right which Allah has assigned to him, from this booty. But he refuses to take. Sahih al-Bukhari 3143 reference 57 Hadith 51. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus it. So Hakim never took anything from anybody after the Prophet till he died. Sahih al-Bukhari 3143 reference 57 Hadith 51. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Nafi. Umar bin al-Khattab said, O Allah's messenger, I vowed to observe itikaf for one day during the pre-Islamic period. The Prophet ordered him to fulfill his vow. Umar gained 2 lady captives from the war prisoners of Hunayn and he left them in some of the houses at Mecca. When Allah's messenger freed the captives of Hunayn without ransom, they came out walking in the streets. Umar said to his son, O Abdullah, see what is the matter. Abdullah replied, Allah's messenger has freed the captives without ransom. He said to him, Go and set free those 2 slave girls. Nafi added smiley face. Allah's apostle did not perform the Umrah from Al-Jirana, and if he had performed the Umrah, it would not have been hidden from Abdullah. Sahih al-Bukhari 3144 reference 57 Hadith 52. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Amr bin Taglib. Allah's messenger gave gifts to some people to the exclusion of some others. The latter seemed to be displeased by that. The Prophet said, I give to some people, lest they should deviate from true faith or lose patience, while I refer other people to the goodness and contentment which Allah has put in their hearts, and Amr bin Taglib is amongst them. Amr bin Taglib said, The statement of Allah's apostle is dearer to me than red camels. Narrated Al-Hasan. Amr bin Taglib told us that Allah's messenger got some property or some war prisoners and he distributed them in the above way. That is giving to some people to the exclusion of others. Sahih al-Bukhari 3145 reference 57 Hadith 53. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Anas. The Prophet said, I give to Quraysh people in order to let them adhere to Islam, for they are near to their life of ignorance. That is, they have newly embraced Islam and it is still not strong in their hearts. Sahih al-Bukhari 3146 reference 57 Hadith 54. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Anas bin Malik. When Allah favored his apostle with the properties of Hawazin tribe as booty, he started giving to some quarries men even up to 100 camels each, whereupon some Ansari men said about Allah's messenger, "May Allah forgive his apostle. He is giving to men of Quraysh and leaves us, in spite of the fact that our swords are still dropping blood of the infidels." When Allah's messenger was informed of what they had said, he called the Ansar and gathered them in a leather tent and did not call anybody else along with them. When they gathered, Allah's messenger came to them and said, "What is the statement which I have been informed, and that which you have said?" The learned ones among them replied, "O Allah's messenger, the wise ones amongst us did not say anything, but the youngsters amongst us said, 'May Allah forgive his apostle. He gives the Quraysh and leaves the Ansar, in spite of the fact that our swords are still dribbling wet with the blood of Sahih al-Bukhari 3147 reference 57 Hadith 55. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus the infidels. Allah's messenger replied, "I give to such people as are still close to the period of infidelity, that is, they have recently embraced Islam and faith is still weak in their hearts. Won't you be pleased to see people go with fortune, while you return with Allah's messenger to your houses? By Allah, what you will return with is better than what they are returning with." The Ansar replied, "Yes, O Allah's messenger, we are satisfied." Then the Prophet said to them, "You will find after me others being preferred to you. Then be patient till you meet Allah and meet his apostle at Al-Kawthar, that is a fount in paradise." Anas added smiley face, "But we did not remain patient." Sahih al-Bukhari 3147 reference 57 Hadith 55. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Jubair bin Mut'im that while he was with Allah's messenger who was accompanied by the people on their way back from Hunain, the Bedouins started begging things of Allah's messenger so much so that they forced him to go under a samura tree where his loose outer garment was snatched away. On that, Allah's messenger stood up and said to them, "Return my garment to me. If I had as many camels as these trees, I would have distributed them amongst you, and you will not find me a miser or a liar or a coward." Sahih al-Bukhari 3148 reference 57 Hadith 56. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Anas bin Malik. While I was walking with the Prophet who was wearing a Najrani outer garment with a thick hem, a Bedouin came upon the Prophet and pulled his garment so violently that I could recognize the impress of the hem of the garment on his shoulder, caused by the violence of his pull. Then the Bedouin said, "Order for me something from Allah's fortune which you have." The Prophet turned to him and smiled, and ordered that a gift be given to him. Sahih al-Bukhari 3149 reference 57 Hadith 57. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abdullah. On the day of the battle of Hunain, Allah's messenger favored some people in the distribution of the booty, to the exclusion of others. He gave al-Aqra bin Habis 100 camels and he gave Uyayna the same amount, and also gave to some of the eminent Arabs, giving them preference in this regard. Then a person came and said, "By Allah, in this distribution justice has not been observed, nor has Allah's pleasure been aimed at." I said to him, "By Allah, I will inform the Prophet of what you have said." I went and informed him, and he said, "If Allah and his apostle did not act justly, who else would act justly? May Allah be merciful to Moses, for he was harmed with more than this, yet he kept patient." Sahih al-Bukhari 3150 reference 57 Hadith 58. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Asma bint Abu Bakr. I used to carry the date stones on my head from the land of Az-Zubair which Allah's messenger had given to him, and it was at a distance of 2/3 of a farsakh from my house. Narrated Hisham's father. The Prophet gave Az-Zubair a piece of land from the property of Bani and Nadir, gained as war booty. Sahih al-Bukhari 3151 reference 57 Hadith 59. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ibn Umar. Umar bin al-Khattab expelled all the Jews and Christians from the land of Hijaz. Allah's messenger after conquering Khaybar, thought of expelling the Jews from the land which, after he conquered it belonged to Allah, Allah's messenger and the Muslims. But the Jews requested Allah's messenger to leave them there on the condition that they would do the labor and get half of the fruits the land would yield. Allah's messenger said, "We shall keep you on these terms as long as we wish." Thus they stayed till the time of Umar's caliphate when he expelled them to Tama and Arya. Sahih al-Bukhari 3152 reference 57 Hadith 60. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Abdullah bin Mughaffal. While we were besieging the fort of Khaybar, a person threw a leather container containing fat, and I ran to take it, but when I turned I saw the Prophet standing behind, so I felt embarrassed in front of him. Sahih al-Bukhari 3153 reference 57 Hadith 61. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ibn Umar. In our holy battles, we used to get honey and grapes, as war booty which we would eat and would not store. Sahih al-Bukhari 3154 reference 57 Hadith 62. Sahih al-Bukhari, 1/5 of booty to the cause of Allah. Khumus narrated Ibn Abi Alfa. We were afflicted with hunger during the besiege of Khaybar, and when it was the day of the battle of Khaybar, we slaughtered the donkeys and when the pots got boiling, with their meat, Allah's apostle made an announcement that all the pots should be upset and that nobody should eat anything of the meat of the donkeys. We thought that the Prophet prohibited that because the khumus had not been taken out of the booty, that is donkeys. Other people said, he prohibited eating them forever. The sub-narrator added, I asked Sa'id bin Jubair who said, he has made the eating of donkey's meat illegal forever. Sahih al-Bukhari 3155 reference 57 Hadith 63.